since all eyes and minds were focused on Sunday's football game.
All right.
I thought I'd ride the wave and give you spiritual principles as to what God believes and how God believes his leaders ought to be functioned. And God is saying tonight that my leaders ought to be people of action.
All right.
Not people who just believe only, but people who understand that you need to believe and you need to have action. Because if you simply believe, taking nothing away from that, and you read it in the scripture, it's the wonderful thing. But everything that we believe, because there's always a corresponding action to faith. There's always a corresponding action to what we believe. And if we never correspond to what we believe, then my brothers and sisters, all we're doing is just standing in the huddle. Let's bring it home just a little bit closer. The New England Patriots made Super Bowl history in their win over my home team, the Atlanta Falcons. 28-3, 25-point deficit to tie the game. 31 unanswered points only to win the Super Bowl. All of this happened because the plays were called in the huddle. And as good as Tom Brady is and as good as Belichick is, nothing would ever had happened if the teams never broke the huddle. Y'all got to stay with me. Y'all a little slow now. You're on the short bus. Talk with me. Talk with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. So, if you notice what the Patriots did, every time they got in the huddle, they called the play, they broke the huddle, and then they executed the play. Play by play, breaking the huddle once again. Even the announcers said themselves, they ought to be in a hurry. But Tom Brady took his time. Even with under 2 minutes and something left, he slowly walks to the line after he had called the play and broke the huddle, and he executed. See, the church has been guilty of simply huddling. We come to Bible study and we huddle. We come to worship service and we huddle. See, in the huddle, a whole lot of talking goes on, but very little action happens. And I don't know about you, but you ought to be tired of being with people who don't ever break the huddle. Every time you meet them, they got something to say, but there are never any, Lord have mercy, I'm preaching better than you're shouting, but there's never really any action. See, God is calling leaders to action. He needs somebody that's not only going to talk about feeding the poor, but actually feeding the poor. That's not just going to talk about going to the hospital, but actually start making some visits. God looking for some folk that said, you know what? We've been huddling. I told some people the other day, I'm not going to another minister's meeting. I'm not even going to another minister's march because they get my hopes all the way up here. And then in the end, I discovered it wasn't nothing but another. Choir come together, we got good plans, big plans, but at the end, it was just a huddle. Ushers have their meeting, it sounds awesome, but at the end, it was just, because nobody left with action. Shepherd staff, just a huddle. Armor bearer, just a huddle. Everybody is huddling, but nobody is breaking the huddle, because watch this. After you break the huddle, you got to run the play. Seemed like the church would just be tired of just huddling day after day. And you know, when you huddle too much and ain't nothing ever done, then your players start getting tired. Then the players start getting, and then they start playing the blame game because nobody is executing from the huddle. I'm almost where I need to be. Watch this. Well, let me say it like this. Football is a game, and ultimately the bottom line is about crossing the opponent's goal line. It's about scoring, crossing the goal line and scoring. The offense want to move forward, and the defense wants to stop them. Each team has 11 individuals on their team, and each team has a captain, and the captain is responsible for calling the plays. The offense have the quarterback, the defense has a defensive captain, and everybody calls a play. Now watch this. After each play is over, the team gather together in what they call a huddle. And it is in the huddle that the next move is strategized. It's in the huddle that the next play is called. And you know something interesting? As long as I've been following football, I've never seen a player sleep in the huddle. But I have in church. I have in meetings. I've never seen a player not pay attention, because that player knows that the next play could be coming to me. So every player's mind is focused in the huddle. The play is called, the huddle is broken, and the next thing we're left with is execution. Now we have to execute the play, because it is in the huddle that the instructions are given. And if everybody in the huddle is alert, it is then that you give your team the best opportunity to win. Stay with me now. You have an allotted time to call the play and run the ball. And if you don't run the play in the allotted time, you get a delay of game. And I was wondering why the church is not moving like it ought to. It's too many people in the church giving us a delay of game. You know what I mean, dragging back to the huddle, acting like you really just don't care. You know, you can get a delay of game because you got players that's not moving with the swiftness. Then you got the overzealous and over anxious that sometimes even jumps offside, trying to make something happen that they always end up in somebody else's lane. So watch this now. When you get a penalty, then it will result in not only a loss of yardage, but sometimes a loss of downs. See, when you drink with people you're trying to lead, it could cause a loss of downs. When you sleep with people you're trying to preach to, I wish I had y'all can't really handle this one. So the captain got to be straight, and the players on the team have to help not only the captain stay straight, but themselves. So everybody know that to he whom or she whom much is given, much is required. I'm leaving y'all alone. I'm about done. The church is like that football team. The leaders and the members are the players. And every time we come, we find ourselves in a huddle. The truth of the matter is, we're in a huddle tonight. And the question is, where do we go from here? What happens after we break the huddle? Are we going to break the huddle? Or will it just be another good huddle? Something inside of you have got to say, I want more than what I had. I want to be better. I want to do better. I just can't keep things the same. So God is saying, can I get somebody that's willing to break the huddle. Listen, we don't huddle just to be huddling. We huddle to get instructions so we can run the next play. And ultimately, everybody wants us to score. Now, mind you, there are people on the team that has a problem with who got the ball. And you can tell that they got a problem with who got the ball because they don't want to block for the runner. They'll let stuff come in ministry and take you out and act like they didn't even know anything about it. And as long as it's not me, it really don't matter. Watch this, and I'm done. So God is saying, can you find me some folk that's not only interested in coming and huddling, but people that's interested in breaking the huddle. This is all James is saying. Faith without works is dead. I got the faith to believe God to come in here, but I don't necessarily have the faith and the action to believe God when I leave here. It's kind of like our huddle becomes our safety zone. And can I tell you, when the huddle only preach to those in the huddle, all you're doing is watering folk that's already wet. But God said, I need some folk that's going to take water to the desert. I need some people that want to get some other folk wet. I need some people that say it's not enough for me to get it. Let's break the huddle and be a blessing. Put some legs on your faith. It's all right to shout, but what you're doing after you shout? You're telling anybody about Jesus. You're exercising. Are you working the ministry that God gave you? So the church, not talking about this church, the church is guilty of just talking and never breaking the huddle. You know, the huddle is broken, but the huddle requires action. And sometimes to break the huddle, the play may cause for you to make a sacrifice. Sometimes you got to run the play and know you ain't getting the ball. Sometimes, and you don't run the play like you're not getting the ball. You run the play like the ball coming to me. Because if I just run the play, it might be a breakdown in coverage. And when it happens like that, that's when God gives you something you ain't expecting. You don't think that player, White, made 3 touchdowns, 14 reception? I ain't even heard of him. Look at somebody, tell them, God got some folks you ain't never heard of. And all you got to do is be willing to go in the game, listen to the play, break the huddle, and go and exercise it. But if he was one of them players that was on the sideline, I ain't never got the ball. They always got somebody else got the ball. You got to be ready when God calls your number. You know why? Because faith without works. Watch this. So James said it best when he said that. He said, faith without works is dead. Faith without action. He said, listen, somebody come to you and they tell you, hey man, I'm naked, I'm clothed, you have a good prayer, and then you send them on. He said, what's that? You ain't did nothing till you went to Walmart or Target or someplace and got them some shoes and some clothes to put on their back. Are you with me? That's what happens when leaders break the huddle. A lot of times leaders want to know, I don't want to do it because nobody see me. Integrity is who you are when nobody see you. You're not just saved on Sunday. You saved when you in the checkout line. You saved when you want to say something on Facebook, but you know you need to shut your mouth, because if I find out, it's going to be trouble. Nobody don't know your business till you put it out there. I ain't got no business knowing you mad with nobody. And then you act like nobody don't know, like you're saying something somebody don't know. I hate when people pass by you and don't speak to you. All you did was draw somebody's mind to church today. And then they start thinking about who you were and who you interchange with. Now you got all these folk jacked up because they calling around trying to find out, well, who she mad with. Leaders know that vengeance belongs to God. Stay with me. I'm done. Let me say this and let's get out of here. They're going to pray. We're going to point you. Going to get out of here. Watch this. Watch this now. Leaders not paying attention in the huddle, sleeping in the huddle, complaining in the huddle, not being accountable in the huddle, not being committed in the huddle. Those will be players that will soon be replaced. Because the Patriots did not win the Super Bowl with dead weight. And everybody that's not leading is some folk on the practice squad. So before you get mad that you ain't got a position, thank God for the practice squad. Just say, God, I might not be ready today, but I might be ready tomorrow. So long as I can, even if I can be on the practice squad, I'm one step closer. Listen. Help me, Holy Ghost. You can't take the city in the huddle. You can't possess the land in the huddle. You can't live in houses you haven't built in the huddle. Huh? You can't eat food you haven't planted in the huddle. You can't be the head and not the tail, staying in the huddle. You can't clean where your feet trod, staying in the huddle. You got to break the huddle and run the play. You know what? Everybody in here on a ministry, whoever that ministry leader is, you ought to be running to them and say, what's the play? What's the play? What's the play? What's the play? You know what the play is? We ain't here just to be here. What's the play? What we going to do next? See, whether y'all know it or not, the days of winging it is over. God ain't blessing winging it. You're going to come in here and do something and something happen. God ain't in that mess. You prepare yourself. And then in your preparation, if God want to do something else, let God do it. All that, I open my mouth and he speak through me. God ain't never spoke through an empty vessel who ain't put nothing in their mouth. If that be the truth, why would the Bible say study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly name it, claim it, blab it, grab it, and ain't prepared for nothing. No, you got to ask your ministry leader, what's the play? What is the play? What we doing next? What's next? I want to be ready. What's next? What's the play? Are you with me? Now watch this. The game, this is the last part, has 4 quarters. Our lives and seasons have 4. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Let me tell you where you're at. If you're 18 and under, you're in the first quarter. If you're at least 36 years old right now, you're at halftime. And that's based on the fact that the average person lives 72 years. If you're 54 or older, you're in the third quarter. If you are 70 or more, you are at the end of regulation. And if you're over 70, you're in sudden death. You know what that means? That means you ain't got as much time. I know y'all thinking about what I just said. And y'all thinking about where I'm at in this whole thing. Which means you have to do what God is calling you to do while you have opportunity. And one of the most dangerous things to the church right now is called missed opportunity. Is when we miss the opportunity that God has for us because we're too busy talking and never breaking the huddle. So God is calling leaders. Break the huddle. Break the huddle. Put pressure on ministry leaders to call the next play. We got to break the huddle. Why sit ye here till we die? What's next? It's too much at stake. People are dying every day. Can we please break? Can somebody come up with a plan? Don't let nobody make you think that just because God flows, that means no order. God is a God of order. Everything he does is in order. It's when things are in order that God is at his best. That's why we have to do all things without murmuring and disputing. Because God wants to operate through the law of order. So God gives the plan. The captain shares the plan with the team. The team breaks the huddle. Now, it would be good if all we had to do was come to church. But we break the huddle to go serve. We break the huddle. And the greatest among us is the servant of all. So if you've been privileged, if you've been honored to lead people, please break the huddle, call the play, execute the play, and expect everybody around you to be focused. Ministry leaders, you're guilty of not wanting to confront people you lead. You know what the uniform is, tell them. Be strong enough to tell them you out of uniform. Now, of course, you don't go to folk crazy. Make sure you got some season in your mouth. Know how to talk to people. But just don't let folk do wrong and act like we just ought to be happy because they showed up. That's all right for day one. But as your commitment grow with God, and you can't always lead people that you're trying to be buddies with. You got to be strong enough. See, here's my take on it. If God made me captain, and I'm responsible for the team, and I'm calling the plays, and we breaking the huddle, everybody in that huddle is my responsibility. And when it comes to the church, and when it comes to people, the difference in us and others is that God allows us to hold people's life, their emotions. You see, all that, all of that, you can't take that for granted. Because you don't know what people deal with by the time they get here. I know it's probably not what you came to hear tonight, but I'm here to tell you, we got to break the huddle. My name is Apostle Larry B. Aiken, and I approve this message.